Hello, everybody. I'm your host, DJ Sexy Lips, bringing you the hits yesterday gaming style. Today's show is different. Not only is it like on the console, really, it's kind of everywhere. But not only that, I'm done with the Breath of Fire 3 opening songs because I've exhausted most of it, and upon looking at the rest, they're like the rest of the clips are like not even a minute. So I decided to move on to Chrono Trigger. Why Chrono Trigger? Well, it's one of the best RPGs ever and has one of the best soundtracks ever. So I'll just start with Peaceful Days and work my way through the whole soundtrack. So we're gonna kick things finally starting new with Chrono Trigger. Okay, Peaceful Days again is the new or Chrono Trigger is the new game that's going to kick off the show. And I'm just going to go ahead and say this. I was just about finished with this damn episode, and fucking Adobe crashed for some fucked up odd reason, and only saved the session at the beginning. So yeah, if you notice a tone change, like from that first beginning to now, it's because I'm pissed off. God damn it! I almost didn't redo this. I almost didn't. But I was like, no, I'll get all the emails again. Hey, did you quit doing the show? Because no, I didn't. It's coming. But fuck it, I'm gonna do it again. I'll waste another 2 hours of my day off for you guys, because I love you. So, coming up next, we have some Nintendo music. The first one's from Battle of Olympus, and then we have one from good old Batman on the Nintendo. I'm your host, Sexy Lips, bringing you the hits of yesterday, gaming style. So the first one there to kick us off was from Battle of Olympus on the Nintendo. It was called, I'm gonna say this to the best of my knowledge now, Peloponnesus. It's Pelopennesus. It's obviously based off of Greek mythology. Then we had Underneath the City from Batman. I love Batman on Nintendo. God, that soundtrack was awesome. Not to mention the game. So, coming up next is a trio of Super Nintendo music. First one kicking us off from an RPG that's near and dear to my heart, Secret of Mana. Did You See the Ocean? All three of those are very good examples of why the Super Nintendo was at least on top of the sound there. The first one there was, what was that? Oh wow, great brain fart to top off all this, huh? Good stuff. Really, really good stuff. We had, oh yeah, did you see the ocean from Secret of Mana? Followed by title theme from Super Mario World. That is one of my favorite title screens ever because it just brings back so much memories of like me. This is back before I had a Super Nintendo, but I'd go to my cousin's house for like holidays, Thanksgiving, and so on, and yeah, we'd have to eat, and do the family thing. But all I wanted to do was go into his room and play some Super Mario World. Because I didn't have a Super Nintendo. I had the Nintendo, and then I jumped to Sega. I skipped the Super. I got the Super later in the 90s, but, better late to the party than never, right? Coming up next, if you listen to the last Retrocore, I reviewed a game called Lords of Thunder, or as I called it, Lords of Thunder! I got some of that metal music that I was talking about, and you could barely hear in the background. So I picked 3 tracks from Lords of Thunder, and here it is on the Sega CD. Yeah, some metal there for you, kinda, from Lords of Thunder! Um, Lords of Thunder was a great Sega CD game. As you can listen to Retrocore, our last review, I did, uh, I did Lords of Thunder and Action 52, unfortunately. Jennifer did Bad Dudes and Battletoads, so she got the better of the two, but Lords of Thunder is awesome, I love it. Um, there's some of the music from it. I am all over the place because I've already done this show once again. I'm sorry. Let me slow down. It's almost the halfway part of the show, so it's time for plugs. Check out our original podcast, Retrocore, at retrocore.podomatic.com or vagary.tv or iTunes. Send us emails at retrocore@hotmail.com. Check out Sober's podcast, which is lacking of last week because he and family are fighting the swine flu. So send them emails, tell them you hope they get better and all that good stuff because they're having a fun battle, I imagine. Check out their podcast at gamesociety.podomatic.com. Send them emails at gamesocietyradio@hotmail.com. Also, if you're ever bored or just, want to check out some new stuff, and most of it deals with retro games, check out retrowaretv.com, screwattack.com, and lastly, thatguywiththeglasses.com. Those are all three of my favorite websites. So, okay, coming up next, oddly enough, we really didn't have no requests. We had some stabs at the Guess the Song, but we're all wrong. I have to fix Jennifer's request because last week she requested Kid Icarus, and I played the Game Boy versions to those, so I gotta fix those, and that's coming up next. Jennifer's 3 Kid Icarus songs, Nintendo version. And then I got like a little treat because I know the person, Philip, who guessed the song, guessed it was from Pokemon Gold. While he's not entirely wrong, I decided to play a couple songs from Pokemon Gold for him because he said in his email, that's from his childhood, my childhood too, and I love Pokemon Gold, and I can't wait for the remake. So that's all coming up, but right now it's time for Jennifer's Kid Icarus track. So here we go. Okay, so there you go, Jennifer. Fixed. And I don't know the names of the songs, though, because you didn't label them for me. So here's a quick stab. The first one was Title Screen. The second one was Level 1 or Underground. And the last one was Palace or Fortress. Those are Sexy Lips' guesses. So you can tell me if I'm right or wrong. Um, Next up, like I said, Philip, he guessed Pokemon Gold. Guessed wrong, but not really. Before I play the little clip of the last guess of the song and tell you what it is, I'm going to play a couple Pokemon Gold tracks for him. Because I like him, he likes them. And he just, he made me feel good in the email. He said, thanks, dudes, for putting out some of the best podcasts out there. And that really, made me feel good, touched heart, to be mushy for a minute, if you will. Because I'm not like that. But I'm going to play some Pokemon Gold songs. And then we'll play a little clip of the last guess of the song. I'll reveal what it was. And then we'll get into a new guess of the song. I'm your host, DJ Sexy Lips, bringing you the hits of yesterday, gaming style. So there you are, Philip, and anyone else who enjoys some Pokemon. There's some Pokemon Gold music for you. First one was Battle Theme, or Trainer Battle Theme 1, and the last one was Lucky Radio Channel or Game Corner. It's played in both places, or your radio and in the Game Corner. So, okay, you might be wondering what last week's Guess the Song was, so here is a little clip to remind you. That little ditty was from Pokemon Pinball on the Game Boy Color. That was the red table theme. See, that's why I asked for a specific version, because yes, that is from Pokemon Gold technically, and Red and Blue. But this is like a little remix kind of version, if you will, so it is different, and it is from a different game. So, technically you weren't wrong, Philip, so enjoy those Pokemon tunes there. Coming up next, it's time for a new Guess the Song. And, yeah, and then this is probably going to be a little short show. I'm sorry, people, but at least the tunes are better than last week's, because I don't think that much people enjoyed my show that week. I think it was the Neverhood tracks. Hey, I like them, so if I like it, I'm going to play it. That's the rules, so, alright, people, guess this song. God, I love that song and that game for that matter. So there's hit number 1. Hit number 2 is, kind of don't want to give this because it's going to make it easy. Because, oh well. Hit number 2 is, it's in celebration of a recent announcement. So there you go. That's all you get. Like I said, the show's going to end. I'm bringing back a segment real quick, though, that, it was in a lot of previous shows, so I've probably played the tracks before. But I'm going to do it different this time. And if you guys want this done with other games, email me. Let me know, I'm free, or I'm open to a lot of suggestions, so, email me at retrocore@hotmail.com. But I'm going to play Sonic the Hedgehog music again, because I love it so much. It's my childhood, people. Like, the Sega, I was a little bit older. I did grow up with the Nintendo too, but Sega, I was older. I have a lot of good memories there, and Sonic the Hedgehog was a big part of my life. Like, when I could draw, I drew Sonic. I drew Sonic everything. I even drew Sonic comic books in school. I had people reading this shit, wanting me to draw them this shit. Sonic was a big part of my life, as is the music, so I've decided to play Sonic music again. Starting with Sonic the Hedgehog 1, I'm gonna just play the first 3 levels, and the next show I might continue till I get through Sonic 1 and start with Sonic 2. I might do it this way. I might not, we'll just see what the emails say and what people think. But then after that, we'll get into Then and Now, which is also Sonic the Hedgehog based. So, like I said, Sonic the Hedgehog, people, that was my childhood, really. So, I am your host, DJ Sexy Lips, bringing you the hits of yesterday, gaming style. Oh man, just hearing them songs take me back. I love Sonic the Hedgehog music so much. That takes me back, just hearing Green Hill Zone, the first one there, takes me back to actually getting my Sega Genesis for Christmas, and God, it came with that game. I swore up and down I wouldn't need a new console ever again. And you know, you say that every time you get a new one, because, I mean, the graphics are usually breathtaking, and wow. I mean, I say it with the triple right now. I say I don't think we need anything else, but you know, when that 4 comes around, it's going to be like, wow. So it's just, the Sega, Sonic, and everything was a big part of my life. I even have, like, Sonic comics. I had issues 1 through at least 85. I don't remember if I reached the 100 mark, but I had all the specials, you know, in between there. And it's just, that I had a Sonic the Hedgehog sweater. Like I said, I drew. I had Sonic toys. I'm a huge Sonic fan. When Sonic went 3D, I lost in touch with Sonic. I liked Sonic Adventure on the Dreamcast. After that, the ones on the DS did okay, like the Rush series. They try to be Sonic, but, you know, they're still... All them new characters are stupid as hell. That's what ruined it for me. That's right, Ryu. But, yeah. Then we got, like... Sega's finally getting on touch with it, because if you don't know, YouTube, Google, whatever, Project Needle Mouse. It's basically Sega's attempt to bring Sonic back to his 16-bit roots. Of course, it'll probably be, you know, HD-ish. And, but yeah, it's going to be 2.5D or 2D, whatever. And I know it's going to be, I hope they don't let me down. Sonic Unleashed, big letdown, Sega. Don't fuck this up. Because with Sonic Unleashed, you said you were going back to your roots, and you didn't. You fucking lied. You lied your balls off. So, okay, but Green Hill Zone kicked us off, followed by Marble Zone and Spring Yard Zone. Yeah, from Sonic 1, and those might continue in the future. And I'm sorry for my long Sonic rant, but that's how much of a retro Sonic fan I am. I gotta say retro, because I don't want to put in his new crap, because, God, voice acting, ignorant ass stupid characters, calling fucking Robotnik Eggman. What the fuck is that bullshit? I don't care if that's what he was called in Japan. Here and then throughout the fucking 90s, he was Robotnik. It's Robotnik, goddammit. Okay, I'm done. I know it's my rant. It's time for the end of the show. The end of the show here is then and now. You know, I play a old track and play a new version of that track. So I picked Skychase Zone from Sonic the Hedgehog Dose, or 2. And then I'm playing Bluest Sky, which is a remix of Skychase Zone by Kaijin. You can find this over at OC Remix. You can download it yourself for free. So, there you go, people. I hope you enjoyed this show. I hope it was better than the last times. I think it is. I like the tunes a lot. Like I said, this turned out to look like a lot of my personal faves. So, I'm your host, DJ Sexy Lips, bringing you the hits of yesterday gaming style.